The ATP beats Carlos Alcaraz and Sinner. Carlos Alcaraz loses half of his Christmas bonus pay. The player from Murcia, who finished as world number 1 in the 2025 ATP rankings, was unable to play in all the Masters 1000 tournaments, which cost him a significant amount of money. As the last month of the year is about to begin and the tennis season has come to an end, it is time to take stock of the sporting and economic gains that 2025 has brought to the top names in tennis. And among them, of course, the most intriguing case is that of the current world number 1, Carlos Alcaraz. After delivering the best season of his still short career, many wonder how these successes have impacted his personal earnings. Well, the player from Murcia, who played in 11 finals this year, has missed out on half of an important extra paycheck. This refers to the bonus received for participating in all the Masters 1000 tournaments held in a single year. Alcaraz would have received $4.8 million had he played them all, but the rule states that this reward is reduced by 25% for each Masters 1000 event not played due to withdrawal or injury, up to a maximum of 3. Starting with 4 missed events, the reduction is 100%, which is what happened to Sinner. Thus, the player from El Palmar was only able to collect $2.4 million, €2.07 million, after missing both Canada and Shanghai. He avoided a greater loss by attending Madrid, where he did not play but did fulfill the tournament's commitments. At least the Spaniard topped the bonus pool standings. The $21 million fund, €17.27 million, distributed among the 30 players who earned the most points during the season across the 9 Masters 1000 events and the ATP Finals. Thanks to that, he pocketed nearly $4 million, $3,822,746. Much more than Sinner, 1,911,373, who also received no extra pay because he did not participate in the Masters 1000 events of Indian Wells, Miami, Madrid, and Canada. Alejandro Davidovich and his earnings in 2025. Things also went well in 2025 for the other big name in Spanish tennis, Alejandro Davidovich. The player from Malaga, who ranks 20th in the bonus pool table, will receive a fixed amount of $208,781, €180,303, plus a variable amount. Fixed and variable amounts in the distribution. Lastly, it is worth remembering that the distribution includes fixed remunerations and variable ones. Regarding the latter, for example, Carlos Alcaraz earned $1 million, €863,600, for being the best in ATP 500 events, with 1,930 points, while Davidovich, fourth in this ranking, earned €200,000, €172,720. Caution or ambition. Alcaraz's latest big decision surprises his team. Carlos Alcaraz is already thinking about 2026, when he undoubtedly wants to make his world number 1 ranking count and assert himself as the global leader over his main sporting rival, Jannik Sinner. The Mercian has set the Australian Open as his main goal for the new year, something that would give him a historic tennis record. If 2025 was an outstanding year for Carlos Alcaraz, in 2026 he will, without a doubt, try to at least replicate his achievements from this past season. Despite winning Roland Garros, which you could watch on Eurosport and HBO Max, and the US Open, Alcaraz once again left Melbourne with a thorn in his side. The Australian Grand Slam remains the great unresolved challenge for the star from El Palmar, who fell in the quarterfinals to Novak Djokovic. Sinner completed his double by beating Alexander Zverev in the final. Completing the career Grand Slam is a very important goal for me. I am very eager to win the Australian Open someday. I'm really excited. The good thing is that I start the season playing a Grand Slam right away, which could be difficult without competitive rhythm, Alcaraz said in an interview with Tennis Channel about his big goal for 2026. As Alcaraz says, completing the career Grand Slam, winning each of the 4 Grand Slams at least once, is within reach. The player from Murcia, who has won each Grand Slam twice, only needs the Australian Open. Furthermore, he would become the youngest ever to do so, joining a list that includes Agassi, Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic. Even if Sinner were to win Roland Garros, the one title he still lacks, he would no longer be the youngest to achieve the feat. Alcaraz challenges Sinner ahead of 2026. Carlos Alcaraz could not beat Jannik Sinner in the final of the ATP Finals held at the Analpi Arena in Turin. The Spanish player, who performed well overall, fell just short, losing 7-6, 4, 7-5 to the player from San Candido and finishing 2025 as world number 1 with 8 titles. The Mercian accepted the painful loss, and in the awards ceremony he sent a warning to Sinner ahead of 2026, a year that promises great excitement and likely many encounters between the Spaniard and the Italian. It's been a great year for Yannick and now it's time to rest. I hope you're ready for next year because I will be too. Hopefully we can play more finals together, said the player from El Palmar shortly after thanking the Italian crowd for their support and respect during the final. Sinner decided to rest and prepare for 2026, a decision that sparked much debate. However, Yannick has hinted at a striking opinion about the tournament scheduling. Carlitos had already said that, due to the tight calendar, it should be played less frequently, and Sinner has agreed. Every player has their own opinion. With this calendar, it's difficult for the Davis Cup to have the best players from every country every year. What I would love to see in the future, is for the Davis Cup to be played every 2 years. Then you could schedule the semifinals at the beginning of the season and the final at the end in some place, Yannick explained. The Italian also mentioned some aspects he would like to recover from the old Davis Cup format. If the finals are in Bologna, and there's an Australia versus United States matchup, of course there will be spectators. I'm not saying there won't be, but at the same time, why not make it the real Davis Cup? I've never had the chance to play the real Davis Cup, where you have to play away in Brazil or Argentina with the whole stadium not against you, but passionately supporting their country. I think that is the real Davis Cup, Sinner concluded. Carlos Alcaraz beats Sinner in another peculiar battle. The Mercian has beaten the Italian in a statistic that already has its own honorary title among tennis fans. No one disputes that 2025 has been Carlos Alcaraz's year. And no one disputes that Yannick Sinner, had he not been suspended for 3 months for doping, could have spoiled the Mercian's happy ending to the season. The Spanish player finished the year achieving his big goal, ending at the very top of the ATP rankings. But only 550 points separate them. While Alcaraz played 19 tournaments this year, the Italian played 18. Their different plans and respective injuries have led them to finish the season with very similar numbers. And to top it off, Sinner successfully defended his ATP Finals title, one trophy Alcaraz still lacks. Analyzing all the statistics from each of them in this recently concluded season, it has been reported that the Mercian has earned the honorary title of Baker of the Year. In other words, the player with the most 6-0 and 6-1 sets. In tennis slang, a 6-0 is called a bagel and a 6-1 a breadstick. Well, Carlos recorded 8 6-0 sets and 27 sets of 6-1. A total of 35 freshly baked sets, just one more than the Italian's 34. Fabio Fognini believes Sinner and Alcaraz will rarely play Davis Cup again. And as a result of such a rivalry, the rest of the tour talks only about them. Everything revolves around the two main forces of the moment. Even at the Davis Cup finals, which neither of them played, their names were still in the spotlight. The latest to comment on the controversy surrounding Sinner's withdrawal from Italy's team was his compatriot Fabio Fognini. Months after retiring following a first-round loss at Wimbledon, the former Italian player openly addressed the issue in Corriere della Sera. My opinion on the new Davis Cup? Well, they completely transformed it, and they say it's for the worse. Honestly, I think so too. The best players want it to be played every 2 years. I don't know what to think. Of course, the absences of Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz caused it to lose some shine. The reality is that the top 10 players were missing, with only Zverev there. That's not good for the competition. The format needs to be revised, but Yannick and Carlos's priority will never be the Davis Cup. Rafael Nadal's shocking message about Alcaraz and Sinner. Nadal links the competitive legacy of the Big Three with the Alcaraz-Sinner duo, currently the absolute leaders of the circuit. Rafael Nadal left competition and ended his professional career a year ago, and he reflected on his journey and experiences during an interview on Universo Valdano, broadcast by Movistar. The Mallorcan reviewed his retirement, his major achievements highlighted by his love affair with Roland Garros, where he won 14 titles, and what his life is like now in Monaco, far removed from the frenetic pace of the tour. During the conversation, Nadal also reflected on his historic rivalry with Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic, with whom he shared more than 15 years of absolute dominance in world tennis. Federer ended his career with 20 Grand Slams, Nadal with 22, and Djokovic, still active, leads the all-time list with 24. Together, they built the ATP's most dominant era, capturing nearly every major title for almost 2 decades. Nadal highlighted how his relationship with them evolved. In the end, we all know each other. When you play against someone like Federer or Djokovic, you know you have to fight until the end, make them feel like they have to beat you, he explained. Over time, that intense rivalry transformed friendship? You go through phases. When you're young, you live everything more intensely. With the years, things soften. We've ended our careers and we can go to dinner together without any problem. We competed for the most important things, with marked rivalries that always stayed on the court. Our personal relationships were built on respect, admiration, and a certain friendship. You end up appreciating those who made you suffer on the court, and I feel happy to be part of that history, he said.